I will be directing the program. I'll also introduce our presenter today. But first of all, let me introduce myself. Like I said, I am Dr. Tahleho Theole. I am the acting university librarian at the National University of Lesotho. And we are together with UFS in all AI related events leading up to the main event later in the year in November. So I've been instructed by Ndade Charlie to direct and introduce the speaker. So at this moment, I will introduce our presenter today, who is Mr. Nicholas Zimmer. And I hope my pronunciation is correct. So the name is Nicholas Zimmer. And if you allow me to just read his bio, and Mr. Zimmer, please be honored. And colleagues, if you allow me to read his short bio, Mr. Zimmer is a digital strategist. He is a metadata specialist and a cultural preservation advocate who is based in Cape Town, South Africa. With a background in fine art, education, and digital curation, he works at the intersection of technology and memory, leading large-scale digitization and AI-driven preservation projects across Africa. As the Digital Scholarship and Data Curation Manager at FCTEC, Mr. Zimmer empowers institutions to unlock access to their collections. He connects communities and builds sustainable, inclusive futures for knowledge. And as I introduce him, colleagues, this morning, please help me welcome Mr. Nicholas Zimmer, who is a seasoned leader in the digitization of cultural heritage and archival transformation across the African continent. With a deep roots in both creative and technical realms, Nicholas merges decades of experience in metadata curation, fine art, and education to champion equitable AI-augmented access to memory institutions. He currently leads digital curation initiatives at FCTEC, driving innovation and capacity building in libraries, archives, and museums. Mr. Zimmer, you are now welcome to make your presentation as colleagues are waiting. Thank you very much.
Chair, I just want to intercept and just say that Mr. Nicholas Zimmer is joined by Johan Hoslu as well. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much,
Sure.
Lashan. Mr.
Thank you.
Zimmer?
Good morning, colleagues. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Doctor, thank you very, very much for that super generous introduction. It made me cringe a little bit because it was so long. It made me sound much more important than I am. But it really is.
You are important. You are very important.
We are all important. But thank you very much, Doctor. It's wonderful to see so many people on this call. We're very honored to have been invited to share what we do. And we're very much looking forward to making it sort of exciting and approachable. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see my slides. Let's see if this works. Let me just make this a presentation. Yes, okay. Okay, great. So yeah, I'm joined by my colleague Johan Vosloo, short Joe. And yeah, we're actually here in the Joburg office this morning, sitting together in the boardroom and going to take you through what we thought. We put together these slides and actually a live demo in the system that we work with on a day-to-day basis with a whole team of people called Neuro AI. And just make it very practical, because there's a lot of there's a lot of complicated stuff that gets talked about with regard to AI, and we want to sort of demystify that a little bit and show you a look behind the curtain of actually working with artificial intelligence, specifically regarding document processing or intelligent document processing. So very quickly, who we are. So the way we refer to ourselves is FC Tech, because it's short for First Coast Technologies. So FC Tech, who we are, we've been around for more than 25 years now, operating across 17 African countries. With regard to today's topic, it's important to know that we're roughly processing over 4 million documents per month, scanning and processing them, and we'll go into that processing part just now. And we actually can achieve a sort of classification and extraction and delivery of document data in under 5 seconds. And we'll go into this. So there's a lot of jargon, but we'll go into this. So what you are also probably all aware of by now, because for years this has been in a good discussion by now, is digitization or digital imaging standards around digitization, most importantly that ISO standard 19264, and then the two big guidelines, Metamorphose and Fudgy 3-star. This has to do with the imaging part of it. What we're going to be talking about today has got to do more with what comes after the imaging. So in order to obviously do that well, it's very important to produce standards compliant images. So that's why we put that into the slide as well. And yeah, we are the sole distributor of Zeuchel and Inotech and SMA scanners across the continent. So that's already my welcome and context. I don't want to bore you unnecessarily. What we're going to look at now is very briefly the AI moment for galleries, libraries, archives, and museums. And then look at what is intelligent document processing. So looking at from a pixel cloud, from a JPEG or TIFF scan, to actual information, knowledge, insight, wisdom. How does that work? And so then Joe is going to actually take us through of Neuro AI, which is the name of our system, but there's many other systems, and Joe will go into that. And you'll actually get to see how it works in real life. And then we'll do a little bit of a poll or an interactive activity and then wrap up. So stay with us, but also if you would like to interject, if you have an urgent question or an urgent sort of comment, please feel free to also raise your hand and interrupt me. I don't mind. And I'm sure Joe feels the same way. We like to have it quite conversational. We don't want to bore you at all. So what's this AI moment for GLAM? Why now? Why especially libraries and archives? I mean, some of you, I've seen now your names on the screen as you were all joining, and some of you I know are reading our AI newsletter every Monday morning, and so some of you are with me. But just to very briefly recap, what we're dealing with across the continent, we see this on a daily basis, is kilometers of shelving, millions, maybe even billions with a B of pages, and one spreadsheet or a bunch of spreadsheets trying to sort of index all of this. And obviously, if that sounds familiar in any way, then we know that there's something missing here. So yes, digitization is the first step, but what next? So that's the topic today, and we're trying to keep it very simple. So we've come across these figures again and again. Roughly 70% of archival collections are not yet discoverable online. So we don't even know really of the specific existence of specific collections. We might know that there's an archive, but we don't really know what's in it. And there's another figure for the South African government. We've processed, let me not even put such a specific figure to it. I have here 40 million, but it's probably much more by now.
Yeah.
That's probably much more because of the big project for Home Affairs, but we'll look at that maybe a little bit later. So the AI moment is actually this moment of three forces converging. So on the one side, we have intelligent document processing that can now actually, through the enhancement of AI capabilities, can now read handwriting,
Mr. Nicholas, I think you muted yourself.
I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. Where did I cut off?
I think you were on the part where you were mentioning the big project you are working on at Home Affairs.
I'm so sorry. It must have happened when I switched the slides. So I was just saying, so this AI moment is actually a moment where three forces are converging. So with regard to intelligent document processing, it's now enhanced through artificial intelligence capabilities that have to do with reading handwriting, even better classification of documents, extracting entities, outputting structured metadata automatically and at scale and in multiple languages. This coming together with the pressure that GLAM institutions face because of these backlogs that we just mentioned on the previous slide of millions of unprocessed items, and manual metadata creation just can't keep pace with the scanning capacity and the demand from the public, from researchers, etc. So in order to stay at all relevant and competitive, you need to do more than just scan, basically. As you know, you need to unlock what it is that you're scanning. And so, yeah, there's this urgency. So funder expectations and standing still is clearly no longer an option. So it's a strong case to look into what AI can do. I think I've gone over this already. Yes. So at this point, I think it's best I hand over to Joe from Scans to Knowledge.
Okay, thank you, Nick. That's much appreciated. All right, thanks. So yeah, Nick, I think we can go to the next slide. I think the key message that we sort of want to sort of convey today is that, and if we look at the technology that's available, is that it's important that what we're going to show you today is based on one intelligent pipeline. There's one front door that one can utilize to, and then the key thing is that we automate the classification and that the system can decide which journey each document must take. And that is the key around the demo that we're going to show, and also the strategy going forward that we want to convey. So when we look at what IDP actually is, there are a couple of key things. Is that AI is a big buzzword, and there's multiple technologies available to achieve the results that one would like to do. So if we look at OCR, handwriting recognition, and ICR, there are multiple technologies out there, and these technologies can be intertwined into one another to actually get the desired result. And that is one of the key things that we'll show today, where we are using two different technologies, one to classify and one to actually extract, prompt, and get metadata from the specific documents. And if we look at document understanding, again, the key component is that one can classify the documents, that one can do layout detections. All of these, again, are different technologies that one can utilize to accurately identify the document types, and also the content that might be, and where the content might be located on the document itself. And then most of all, the most important is, how do we get the meaning of the extraction? How do we get the data that makes sense? And based on the document type classification, one will be able to state that one required these 10 fields or those 20 fields or the only 2 fields. So that is based on the meaning and extraction, and that's sort of also what we'll show you today. And that's in broad, the end-to-end. But critically, the message on this slide is that one should remember that there are multiple technologies that can be utilized for, and different document types might require different extraction engines and LLMs and machine learning engines. Yeah. Then just quickly, from a pipeline perspective, I think that is the key that we'll also show you. The first one is on the collect side, where we typically have scans. There could also be documents that are digitally born, and one should never forget that that's also data that's still untapped and might just be sitting on a network location. So that's also content that one can ingest and make more use of. And then after that, when we ingest the content, we normalize the format. So we can standardize everything into a TIFF format, anything into a PDF format, in any standard that's required. And then we do quality checks around that to make sure that there's some deskewing done, despecting, and make sure that everything is fine. So then the second step is to understand the document. And after ingestion, the first key component is to classify the document. So when we show you the demo, you'll clearly see we're going to ingest content. Then you'll see that we will have 3 different document types. And that classification clearly tells us which fields that we need to extract. And that depicts where it needs to go, and that depicts which fields will be extracted. So that happens on the understanding side. And then the last component is we need to act on the data that we have. We need to apply specific rules engines that we can, for example, we look at the ID number. Is it according to the ID number standards? Is it a 13-digit number? Are the dates in the correct format? Are there any dates that seems that they are out of range for a specific period? There are multiple components that we can check from a business rules perspective. One can also validate ID numbers and surnames against master data that's already existing in different endpoint systems. So those are the things that we do from a business rule engine perspective. And then a key thing that we'll show you today is the human in the loop. And we talk about check and act because a lot of fear arises from individuals when one talk about AI. They say that, what about hallucinations? What about from a different location, and those are things that we'll cover in the demo and discuss. And this check and act, human in the loop, is to make sure that all the data is correct and that the human can approve it and say, I'm happy that everything is correct. And then there's also, as part of that phase, depending on the document type, one can implement a learn and improve phase where you actually teach the system continuously, where it will continuously learn, and it will, as soon as it learns that behavior, it will automate it the next time. And again, everything we show you here will show you where it stops, that we can just show you the concept. Some document types one would be able to automate end to end, and some one would require a full human in the loop. And in some components might want to have partial human in the loop components, but this is depending on the document types and the requirement. And that's something we can discuss in a little more detail a little bit later. And then lastly is the execute and export, where this will then be the metadata with the image will then be exported to the endpoint system, may that be DSpace, Atom, it doesn't matter what the endpoint is. We will hit that ERP that one can recover or actually search for that content to make it searchable and accessible. All right, so no, perfect. There we go. So let's quickly talk about the validation steps. So I think this is again as the key things that we wanted to show you. On the right-hand side is just a screenshot of what we will be showing you. It's what we call check and act. It's a human in the loop component, and you'll see clearly on the top panel where we did classification.
No voice, no voice.
Just does it by itself. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So I think we're back now. I think it automatically mutes after
And I think
slide move.
it's a good time to say this is made up data. It's
Yeah.
not a real. Yeah.
100%. I just want to know, must I start from scratch on this slide?
No, it's good. I think we hear you.
Okay. Okay, excellent, perfect. So yeah, so I think maybe just to be clear, all the data that we show you today is not real data. All of this is manufactured data. So all the information you see is just random. That has been noted. So please be aware that it is not real data that we are presenting to you today. So on the confidence score, just wanted to explain quickly that you'll see that there's document type, there's a confidence level, and I think this is critical because that's always sort of what do you work with? Is it sure? Is it unsure? What's the confidence level from the engine that can be made visible in the front end for the users, and then below that, you'll see there's a clear explanation of why it gave that confidence level. And we'll go into that a little bit deeper detail in the demo itself. And then at the bottom component, you'll see the physical extracted fields. And these fields exist on the specific document or form. And we're going to show you three completely different ones and how it works. But again, I think the key message on this one is to make sure that if we look at the bottom left, that the human intelligence component plus machine intelligence actually is the big glue that sticks everything together and that makes it work optimally from an end-to-end perspective.
Okay.
All right.
You guys switch over, I guess.
So I will share my screen and then we'll just quickly have a look at the documents that I want to process.
Sorry, there's a background noise. Can all of us mute, please?
There is a blower that we hear outside of our office. I'm not sure if that's the noise.
Yeah, it sounds like it is.
Yeah, apologies for that. It's very far away. So, okay, now we'll see. Apologies for that.
They will finish.
I'm going to try something different. How does that sound?
It disappeared.
Okay, so it sounds better.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Big pleasure. Okay, please let me know when you can see the ocean, the screen. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, we can see.
Thank you so much. All right, so the key documents that we would like to show you, we will show you three specific documents. So the one that you all be familiar with, first is, and I'll just move this over to the screen that you can see. This is a thesis, and this is a 20-page thesis, and we'll show you how we summarize the metadata, how we change this document into Dublin Core format, and how the system can actually review this document and classify that this is a thesis. Okay, so that's the one that we are going to show you. The next one that we are going to show you is a Tibetan scroll. So this was a scanned scroll, and obviously this for me is unreadable. I've got no idea what is on this scroll, and we'll show you a little bit on some of the translation components that one can use and utilize, that these content don't stay let's call it unused or untouched. A lot of the time people are waiting for an expert that will have Tibetan knowledge or a different language knowledge, and these content just sit on a hard drive or not being digitized. Whereas when one starts with this, one can already do a lot of work without an expert and get the expert in later. But let's make sure we can get to the metadata, get it searchable and retrievable. And then the last one is to show you for example, a form type of scenario. This is a death notice. that we'll show you, and we'll show you how we can extract this handwritten content. Because a lot of discussion has been around handwritten content, how good it is, how bad it is, does it make mistakes, yes, no, and we'll go through the good and the bad with regards to these documents. All right. So I am going to ingest these documents. You will see that this is a what we call the check and act screen. I just wanted to show you that the last document that came in here was just before 7. So I will ingest the documents now just in the back. Just give me 1 second. And then I'll just talk about the process and what is happening. Okay. All right. So one component that I also just wanted to discuss is that when we look at these components, a key component that we've also discussed previously is that there are different mechanisms and components that intertwine that can make a process work, and it differs for every document type. So if we have a look at some of the previous or how complex processes could possibly be, I wanted to show this to you. So this is extremely small, but the reason why it's so small, and I'll zoom into it now, is that this is one process for one document type. And that is how complicated a process could be. So what we will show you today is we will show you how we utilize OCR services, cognitive services, where we will use that for handwriting recognition. And then again, in this process, we used an additional OCR component because in some cases we don't need handwriting recognition. So we can use multiple technologies. If the classification or is unsure, the confidence level is low, it will go into a check and act phase where the user can check the classification. And then you can check against master data, as an example, on the top right-hand side. When that is done, it can then go into the process into the different document types, where it will have its own rules and own life for that specific document type.
So sorry, John. Master data could, for example, in an archive be the archivist's handbook or the collection number, or it could be an index of sorts that you look up.
That's correct, 100%. So that could be a full text file index or an Excel that's been maintained over the last couple of years. It might be a system where they've actually captured the full library index of everything. You'll be able to utilize that and compare that against the documents that you extract.
Amazing.
Perfect. So so this is just to show you quickly. It went to the document types process. We see on the top right star, we see that there's a large language model, and that large language model is used for specific requirements. And then at the bottom, we can see here on the little fire that there's a learn bot. So we can also learn, as we mentioned, different document types, and they will remember that learning and they will automate in the future. And that is just to show you some of the key components in this process. And on the right-hand side, it's just the export process for the different document types. But that is how complex a process can possibly become. Then it could be also as simple as that. And I think that's very important to understand that it depends on the document type, it depends on the requirement, and it could absolutely be anything. In this case, this is an extremely simple component, but extremely powerful with the OpenAI extraction component that we put in the middle here, where the prompting component is critical. And I think that's one discussion that sometimes where we can go into detail and that we can discuss and have a session about is what is prompting and how important is the prompting with regards to that. All right, let's see if the documents came through. Sorry, the internet's very slow on our side. You can see there that one came through. I just want to make sure that the others are also on their way. Okay, yeah, the other one is on its way. The Tibetan is in the LLM currently. I just want to make sure that the thesis is also on its way. I will just continue. We'll just have a look at the other one if it doesn't come through now. All right, so let's quickly have a look at the death notice. So what is critical and to understand is that this document was what I showed you the image. So this was a document that was actually taken with a phone. So this is a photographed image. This could have been a scanned image. This could have been an emailed image, or a digital born document. But this we know is sort of typically a scanned document, and it's got metadata on it that typically needs to be captured manually into a system and could take a lot of time. So what happened was we took it into the system, we classified it as a death notice, and that classification you will see on the right-hand side. So you'll see that it says death notice, and it gave us a confidence level to state what is the percentage. So it's 98% sure that this is a death notice. And it also then gives us an explanation on why it picked that, or why it got to this result or that percentage and confidence level. And we can see there that it contains headings that states death or notice of death, deceased name and ID, date of death, spouse, children information, etc., etc. So it actually reiterates why and explains why it got that confidence level. So that's the first component. Then secondly, what happened was, because we know it is a death notice, we know that there are specific fields that we want to extract. So it extracted the first name, surname, ID number, marital status. Was this document signed? I think that's also something that is also critical. Has some of these physical documents, are there a signature on that document? And some of the other fields with regards to the person signing for the death, etc., and also the particulars of other parties. So that's just to show you what it did, birth, etc. So a key component is that if we look at the left-hand side, that or in the middle of the page, you can see that this document is actually, you can interact with this document. So when you hover over this, you'll be able to see the date, the numbers, the values, where it got the values from, and also screen to extract the data. So let's say, for example, let's look at the name of children. We haven't extracted this because we haven't asked it, but if I want to do this manually, me as the user that works in the check and act screen, I can now hover over this, highlight what I want, and now I didn't do much of it, but if we do that again, but you can see that it picks up Ivy Dlamini. If I scroll over there we go, and I can see that in the index fields, Ivy Dlamini is there, and now I've captured the information, and I can let the document go. So that shows interaction, and that's what the user can do and interact with the metadata. But the key component is we don't have to start capturing everything from scratch. We've got a base to work from, which assists immensely with regards to speed, time, and accuracy. Then also moving on to the accuracy is that it is critically to know, and that was also always a question, is how do we make sure that there's no mistakes? So I wanted to show you that AI can make mistakes, because in this example, the surname was extracted as Flamini and not Dlamini. And if you look at the top there, you will see that that D has got a little tail at the end. And let me see if I can maybe zoom that in for you a little bit. So you see that that is a little bit of a tail, and you'll see that the engine picks up the menu. So now, as a user, I can click on it. I've corrected the mistake, and I can continue. So the reality is that there's a lot of fantastic work, and there's still things that one needs to keep the guardrails on. And this is a perfect example of how you will typically handle and manage a component that's got low confidence levels, or you would have checked this ID number and the surname against master data that could exist, but there's multiple ways on how one can achieve this and make sure that that the data is correct. So if and then maybe just before I continue, now that we've got the information, because we can't control the way that people write, if they write uppercase, lowercase, sentence case, after this extraction, we can change the format to say, let's standardize our system with sentence case or with uppercase. And the dates must always be year, month, day, or day, month, year. So after extraction, that standardization could also be applied that when it's extracted or when it's exported into the endpoint system, Atom or DSpace, that is standardized and that everything looks exactly the same. If I'm done with this and I'm happy, I will release the document, and this will now be exported out into the system with the image attached and the metadata. Okay, good. So let's quickly have a look at the Tibetan scroll. So this is a little bit different now from a standardized form. All right. Just want to check what happened now. It's showing the wrong image. Just give me 1 second. The internet is really, really slow. Let me just do this. I don't know why it's not loading the image. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. So let's look at this one. Okay, great. So one thing I forgot to mention, on the left-hand side, you would see the number of images. We'll see that on the thesis as soon as that comes through. And then in the middle is the center page. And then what we've done differently with this document type is that we actually asked the system to do the extraction, but now it's very specific because we know it's a Tibetan scroll. So what it did was it did extraction on the top right-hand side of the original text of this scanned scroll. Then we asked the system to translate this text because I don't have a clue what is in the scroll and what is mentioned there. But now I've got some view of what that could possibly mean. Then, as a typical librarian, I would like to summarize this in some form of summary. I then asked the LLM to then summarize the translated text that I can put this into DSpace or into the standard that I would like. So we can clearly see that there's a nice summary of the translated text from the Tibetan language. So that's just to show you some of the translation components, which is extremely powerful, that one can utilize. And then as part of that, we stated that please take the scroll and put it into a standard Dublin core, into the standard Dublin core format. And you will see on the left-hand side, it's the title, creator, subject, description, publisher, etc., what is part of the Dublin core standards. And you can see that it automatically picked up the title. It gave us a subject. It's all about Buddhism, religious vision, dreams, devotions, what the text is all about.
it gives us a little description of the OCR passage that it got. And then you can see the publisher is obviously unknown. And then, for example, type, you can see that it's based on text and a manuscript. So all of this was based on the prompt that we created. And you can see there that it's English and Tibetan, and it was done automatically. So again, the user does not have to do anything from scratch. They do not have to have Tibetan knowledge to start with projects like this, but one can start and get these metadata and these fields filled that one can search for it and get it digital. All right. So this was just on the Tibetan scroll. I'm just going to discard that. And just on the thesis. So now on the left-hand side, you will see multiple pages. So that gives you the opportunity to scroll through it. You can select the page, you can read it, you can look at the content on it that's available. And on the right-hand side, we did it extremely basic, where we said, just give us this thesis into a Dublin Core standard that we can import it into our system. So first of all, on title on top, you will see that it actually, if we look to the first page, it's got the implications of camera trap survey designs, and it picked that up automatically. Nicholas?
Just for a second.
Yes, please.
So one of the issues with the university theses, as opposed to the death notice that we picked up, is obviously that they're not very standardized. So the title is somewhere, the author is somewhere. So traditional intelligent document processing without the AI enhancement would struggle with multiple different thesis layouts because of the non-standard or relatively non-standardized formatting. But here, it just infers what is the title, who's the author, who's the supervisor, etc. I just wanted to that I found very exciting when I first came across this. Sorry for the interruption, Joe.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. Then that's exactly the problem as well, because that one sits with all these different formats and layouts, and that is critical that one should be able to handle it with one system.
Yes.
All right. And I think again, it's just important that this is again interactable. This is just an example. I can say, selected there, you will see that it filled that field, and that's not the source, but just to show you that the image is interactable with the user, and they will be able to amend, review, and then export this document into the endpoint system. And that was in summary what we wanted to demo. Maybe we should jump back into the slide then.
Yeah, or open the floor briefly for any questions at this point while you're live with the system. If anyone wants to see something again or while we're here, should we do that?
Yes, I think that's good. And I think it's critical that we just, no, it's fine. Let's maybe open up for if there might be any questions.
So thank you very much, colleagues, for that provision for questions. So where we are currently looking at now in terms of the platform, neuroai.ftc, which platform is this? Is this the AI platform? And how does it work with whatever that platform you are using to store whatever content that you are capturing? Can you say more on this platform?
Yes, 100%. So Nero AI, it is a holding entity for the technology that we use. So we apply different technologies depending on the requirement and what we want to achieve. And I think very important around this solution is that there's two mechanisms around this. This could be done as a SaaS solution where it can be utilized based on our hardware and our licensing, or it could be something that could be implemented on-prem. So very important also around this is that this is not a system that holds information. It is a processing engine. After the documents are in and they've been processed and they've been exported, they're not in the system anymore. This is just a tool to assist and help to get the metadata into the endpoint ERP. So this system doesn't hold any metadata, doesn't hold any images. It's purely a processing engine in between.
Okay, thank you very much. There's a hand, Lungile, if you unmute and talk. Lungile.
Thank you so much, Program Director, and thank you so much to our presenters for the day. My name is Lungile. I'm from Walter Sisulu. I just want to check with you, where then do you type the prompt so that the AI system can then process and then give you this metadata? And how important then is the prompting skills when one is actually working on this document? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lungile. I think that's a fantastic question. So when, as I mentioned previously, the key component is first to classify the document type. So by knowing that, one knows and understands what the prompt should be for that specific document. And also we know what we want to achieve with the content from that document. So, and I will show you. So I will show you an example of it. I will show you that you can actually see what we did with, for example, the death notice. Let me just see there. Now, sorry, it's on the bureau. Apologies. Let me go to demo. So I built a little house here just for fun. And the reason for that is that I use multiple technologies to play with. But if we look at this process, we got the document in, we extracted the PDF document, we did handwriting recognition, and then we classified this document, this specific process with OpenAI. This could have been done with Claude or any other engine. So if I go down, you will see that there's a system prompt and there's a message prompt. So again, there are different components and different prompts that one could use. And this is where it will be configured and managed. The importance of these prompts are critical. And if these prompts are off, you obviously get what we call hallucinations, but it's not necessarily hallucinations, it's just whatever it thinks is based on that prompt. So prompting is critical, and it might be good if I think I can find one quickly just to show you the prompt, but those are key things and it's critical for this process. So it's set up in this specific component, it will go through and it will classify the document in whatever manner it should. What's important, and I think I need to maybe show you this, I think it will just highlight some key things on how we manage these components. Sorry for the text file, but this is exactly how it typically is. But very important is that you need to be specific in the task. You'll see that it's that we state that we need to read the provided document text only. So it cannot go outside of the text that we provide to the system. So that's critical point number one. And remember, this is for this scenario now. We can have other scenarios where we say we would like to get information from a different source, which we can also do. In this case, we say you don't go out of the boundaries, you stay on the document text. Then the one below is you can only select one document type from the given list. And you cannot invent new document types or IDs. And if no document type fits, reasonably well, select the explicitly marked as unknown. So we are very clear on the instructions on what we want from this prompt. And at the bottom, you will see that there's the available document types that we are providing to the specific engine. So this is how it will return it in the JSON format, where we will have a document type ID, type, confidence, explanation. And you will see that there are some additional rules that it must be, in this case, written in English, and the confidence reflects your certainty that is chosen by the type. So this is typically how a prompt will be structured and the importance of a prompt. So this shows you can go outside of lines, keep the border lines, and this is how you control how your results are from a prompt perspective. Thank you.
Should we move on with the slides and have more questions as we go along?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Okay, I've disconnected.
All right. So this is the sort of very quick recap.
Just 1 second.
Okay.
Right.
Does it work?
Are we auditable?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is, thanks so much, Joe. I always sort of I still, whenever Joe opens up the back end, as it were, it gets very exciting because the possibilities are sheer endless. Particularly when you look at something like this Tibetan scroll, and then, I mean, I think it's clear. I think we must all obviously maybe reiterate. We're not saying that the results are perfect. We don't know that, but we're sort of making the content accessible to some degree for then further research, verification, etc., from experts. So I think that's really, really exciting. It's sort of unlocking the archive to some degree. So very briefly, this is what Joe showed us, is the ingestion, the watching the AI classifying and extracting, looking at how handwriting, I mean, isn't it amazing how you can just drag the cursor over the handwriting and it populates your metadata field. No more, endless typing, and it's just so quick, that interaction with the document. It's really amazing. So that's in a way, the heart of today's presentation is that validator screen. And also making the point that we're not taking away work from humans. We're just shifting where humans are actually most needed. And yeah, Joe, you want to say something?
Yes,
yeah.
I think it's critical as well that we know that there's a massive backlog sitting there, and to do this catch up of backlog is a massive effort, and to do it typing one by one, it's not a feasible solution. It will not work. So, and that's one thing that we forgot to mention in the beginning, is that this system can run continuously 24 hours without stopping. So when you start ingesting, the documents will continue to flow through, where a user it will be easier to validate, easier to view the information, but the system gives us a starting point to process massive amounts of volumes. And that scaling will help and assist with catch-up.
You're just making me think we should have walked down the corridor and just showed everyone around the bureau our little pool of validators who working on the screen a lot for clients all over the world.
Yes.
Anyway, so and then the structured metadata output. So anything that you need into any system that you need can be standardized, as we saw Joe demonstrate. So whether you want to put your thesis metadata together with the scanned thesis onto DSpace, that's automated. It's just checked by a human, but everything else is fully automated. Or whether it's a special collections, bulk scanning project, I don't know, it could be government gazettes or something like that, and you push it through and it goes into your Atom instance. There's sheer no end to the possibilities. So handwriting recognition, classification, extraction, validation, and output. I think by now we're all becoming experts. We'll make time for a few more questions later. So now we wanted to take you into, we want to give everyone an opportunity to sort of just write down a few things, and then let's look at what comes out. So I'm not using Mentimeter. I'm being very brave, and I'm using Microsoft Forms. Let's see if this works. So I'll pop the link into the chat. Let's see. Oops. Sorry, colleagues. My so it's slipping. Hang on a moment. Sorry. This is throwing me out a little bit. There. Okay, and those with smartphones can just scan the QR code. Just share again. And then we'll look a little bit together, because I mean there are a lot of people in the room. I think just now I saw 170 odd people. So this should be really interesting across so many different institutions probably represented, what the challenges are and how this connects. Colleagues, if I can have a little bit of feedback if you're managing to get in or if there's any issues.
See a hand.
I see there's a hand up. Somebody's hand is up there. Sorry.
Yeah, Bido. Bubele, Mr. Bubele.
Yes, yes. Good morning, colleagues. Sorry for asking this now. I was supposed to ask this when you asked for questions, but I just want to confirm something. You said this system that you use, is it a system that can be integrated to DSpace, like inside DSpace, or is it a standalone system? Because we are planning also to have a similar system like this. But I just want to confirm for your system, can you integrate it on DSpace, like, you know, as an admin tool that you can use there inside DSpace, or do you have to do it on a standalone platform and then you can upload to DSpace? How does it work? Does it integrate directly to DSpace? I'm just asking for DSpace in this instance, like a system called such as DSpace. Yeah.
Thank you for the question. I think that's a very valid question as well. And the answer is yes, we absolutely do integrate into DSpace. So a lot of these solutions and a lot of these components you will see is actually based on DSpace as well, because that's a very widely used sort of endpoint. So yes, the solution can integrate into DSpace.
Great. So everyone's managing to get into that form. I'm not hearing any dissent, so I'm assuming yes. No?
Yes, the form, yes, we do have access to the form.
Great, great. That's fantastic.
There's a question, Ngobese, Nebo Ngobese. My curiosity, will this AI tool be installed to the library system such as LMS, especially under cataloging module to assist in cataloging, detecting maybe some errors during cataloging, or maybe providing help? That's the question from Nebo Ngobese.
Thanks for the question. So whatever your LMS is, again, I don't think there are any systems nowadays anymore that don't have an API or some form of connector. So we are very totally agnostic with the system as to what to connect to. So there is a way to connect to a system like an LMS one way or another. Obviously, as Joe demonstrated, you have to know very precisely what it is that you want to achieve. So what is the data that you're looking at, and what do you want to do with that data? What data do you want to generate from whatever the input is, whether it's an email inbox, or whether it's a scanner delivering images, or whether it's, as I think was mentioned in the question, sort of legacy metadata, and you want to process it in one way or another through the system and then re-ingest it or ingest it into your LMS. I'm quite confident that that can be set up.
I think there's one thing we also didn't mention, and that is that one can integrate from an ingestion perspective to systems also. So there might be a library that's already sitting electronically. So one can integrate into the system to pull the data in, to review the data or work on the metadata. That's the same with any ingestion point, a SharePoint, or whatever exists already. So there's the way we get the documents in could be multiple ways to check the data or to actually get it into the system and then back and export it back.
I hope we've managed to answer your question. I'm going to give it another 2 minutes to 10:15 because the responses are still coming in very steadily. It's interesting to see. John, can we pull your teams up? Okay.
Sure.
As you can see, all of the above. Significant.
That's quite big, eh?
Yeah, 1 more minute, but these are very interesting answers already. Should have played some music.
Yeah.
All right. I think I don't want to discourage anyone from continuing with their responses. Please keep them coming. There's 30 so far. Thank you very much for participating. The more data, the better. We love data,
Yeah.
and we should have a sticker on every surface. So quite clearly, as the responses come in, we can see. Okay, budgets suddenly overtook all of the above, but very sort of a very even spread between the biggest document challenges being handwritten legacy documents, too many to catalog manually, inconsistent or missing metadata, no clear digitization strategy yet, and then budget and resource constraints, and actually all of the above. So very consistently, these issues seem to be almost totally evenly weighted. Then we got a lot of interesting responses. I'm just going to try and open this up here. So, by the way, as you can see, we're being anonymous here, which I'm very happy about. We've got correspondence, meeting minutes, heritage collections, handwritten letters, thesis and print books, thesis dissertations, music catalogs, manuscripts. So there is, exactly as we said, this interesting Braille books.
Braille books.
Books in Braille. And we actually have scanning technology for that. That's actually very interesting. But this speaks to the 70% that we mentioned in the first slide. This speaks to there's a lot of data that's still lying around, standing on shelves, and it's not accessible. And yeah, it's in all sorts of different types of documents. Then we've got issues staffing. Noted. And again, I guess another argument for looking into what AI can do to assist with that, maybe to supercharge those staff that are there with tools that are fit for purpose. And then how would it change your workflow if you had access to something like Neuro AI? I mean, I just want to reiterate, we're not selling Neuro AI. We're demonstrating a system that makes use of artificial intelligence. But as Joe said, it can also use other technologies. It is also at the same time using other technologies like optical character recognition, handwriting, intelligent character recognition, all those sort of things, and classification. Doesn't need to use AI, but we've been demonstrating how that fits in. So what would you automate first? Creation of metadata, correspondence. Correspondence came up. Speeding up processes with large backlogs. Skills development, metadata for cataloging, fantastic. Arranging and classifying, ETDs. So they're still there, and it's still something to be worked through. Research outputs, not just ETDs. I'm guessing here this would be a very good fit. Literature search, yes. Lots of handwriting, metadata, etc. Wonderful. Yeah, metadata. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for all these answers. It sort of is heartening to see that we're not just sort of talking into empty space. 38 responses. Thank you so much. I'm going to go back to the slides because also some of the questions will be answered by some of the slides. So business case sounds very business, but basically this is where what we mentioned a little bit earlier, something that we're still busy with, the Department of Home Affairs, 340 million records, which turns into close to 2 billion pages, because a record can be many pages. So that is obviously where an IDP solution is hard at work, with lots of validators, validating each scan twice, for absolute accuracy of capture, etc. So it's the full Monty, as it were, and other big projects. So this is where we wanted, so maybe just to make it much more clear still, and not complicate anything and not introduce any additional jargon, what we're demonstrating is a platform that is basically a professional platform, as opposed to your ChatGPT single user license or small groups license or whatever on your phone or on your PC or whatever, where you can try these things out. And we really always encourage, and whenever I'm in the same room with people talking about the capabilities there, I always encourage people to sort of use their little chatbot to generate metadata, etc., and try it out. The thing is that it can't work at scale. What we're showing you is a system, a professional system that costs a lot of money in licensing for us as a company, that can do this overnight, into the next day, into the next night, on and on and on, over millions of documents. That's something that you can't achieve with a chatbot. That's not what it's there for, and yeah. So that's essentially, I'm sort of making it, simplifying it, maybe to the point of Joe frowning at me. But okay, so training is there. Shared licensing is there. So we wanted to maybe go a little bit into what was already asked earlier. And I think I want to give this to you, Joe, to explain a little bit better. SaaS, by the way, stands for Software as a Service. That's all it means. Yeah, Joe?
Yeah, no, and I think this is also something that we discussed previously, is that primarily this could live in a SaaS environment where one would be able to utilize the technology. Don't need to have in-house servers. That's a massive upfront cost, and typically also very difficult to get the budget for those servers and to maintain them, as they need to be replaced every 4 to 5 years. It is extremely fast deployment. I think that's one of the key components as well. You don't have to get the servers, the infrastructure, the software licenses, and then start implementing, because that takes a lot of time. One can get up and running in a very short time frame. I think if one looks at the on-prem and SaaS solution, those are some of the key things one needs to have a look at. Is the infrastructure, and the on-prem obviously is exactly the opposite, where you've got full control over the infrastructure. You can take ownership of the software as well, maintain it, work on it, implement it. But again, there's also a key thing that you require dedicated IT staff to manage that, high upfront cost, and then the one is that you'll need to train individuals to continuously maintain, review, monitor, build new solutions and processes for the solution. And that typically, if staff leaves, you lose that knowledge, and that is typically something that one needs to also take into consideration from an on-prem perspective. And then the hybrid component, where this is where you will typically have a solution on-prem, and you might have a cloud solution working with your sensitive, or you'll keep your sensitive data on-prem, and you will use confined cloud providers to actually process that information. A lot of these, also important to note, a lot of these technologies and LLMs, the real good LLM models is not available as an on-prem solution, and can only be requested in a let's call it an enclosed cloud solution. For example, on a South African data Azure platform or AWS, and to get those complicated LLM models. So it's critical that one needs to have a look at those components, what's the requirements from an on-prem and SaaS solution, and what's the entity's requirements, and then see which one of these fits in best, and then also what LLM can one use if one do not want to send data offsite or into the cloud. So I think that's critical.
That is critical. So a lot of the content that we're talking about that you've shared with us that would benefit from being processed in this way is quite obviously governed by various acts. We're highly aware of this in the industry that we work in. So again, if you use your ChatGPT on your phone, that data is definitely leaving the country. So we don't do that. I think the term is containerize.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, this is now IT gobbledygook to me sometimes, but yeah, we don't allow data to go out of the country. So we do use AI, but it's not sitting outside of the country. It's sitting here locally. Okay. I think we are sort of getting there. We're sort of going to the end now. Just to reiterate what Joe mentioned earlier, these are just some examples. So what is behind all this jargon is basically saying there are so-called endpoints or integration points in the kinds of systems that you already have, and in Neuro AI on the other side, as an example, so that you could pull data from one system, push it into another system, or back into the system you pulled it from. As Joe says, this system is a processing engine. It's not a storage place. It's not a place for data to stay. All right, and you name it. If you need a particular metadata standard, give us the fields, we'll implement it, and they will be populated. So for the demo, we tried Dublin Core because we know that ETDs, for example, on DSpace repositories are cataloged or indexed using the Dublin Core standard. But we know there are many others at large. The takeaways, okay, so scale is the key thing. So whether it's handwritten archival letters, printed registers, catalog cards, whatever it is that you want to throw at it, once you've set up what you want to achieve, a system like this can classify, extract, and output structured metadata automatically for millions of documents, not just for a test, to see how amazing AI has become, but to really process a whole collection or many collections, a whole archive. And the next really, really important points. So the first point being scale, the second point being the human in the loop. So you decide who gets to check what at all times. So there is no, it's not necessary to be fearful of what could happen. It's very contained. It's a very contained process. And then, yeah, as Joe was taking us through the different models, how it could be implemented, that way you can shape it financially also in a way that makes it accessible. It does not have to break the bank, as it were. So here we wanted to sort of end with a discussion or some final questions. So here are a few suggested prompts. We've kind of heard from you already about the document types or collections in the institution that would benefit most from IDP. You've written those. Are there, for example, concerns around AI in metadata workflows? There's always at least one person who's firmly against AI, and I support them. You know, it is very scary. We heard in the news yesterday, I think, or the day before, how OpenAI accidentally unleashed something and it hacked its way into Hugging Face's servers, and it was quite scary. And yeah, scary things are going to happen. So, and let's talk about it. And what would you need to see or know before proposing intelligent document processing to your management? And how does your current repository connect with or prevent this kind of workflow? Those are just some kickoff questions if you'd like to have a discussion with us. No students.
It's continuing.
So I don't know if we need to speak to the resource or what is the process.
Let's engage her first. I will engage her. If you want to, you can join us.
Engage her. Let's not make it seem like we are tag teaming.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm not quite sure if this is directed at us or if it is just an accidentally unmuted microphone. Ah, Fatima, good morning. Please speak.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I was just wondering, colleagues, given that we all have masses of content that we need to process, and they are within the metadata description area, if we cannot have some initiative to build our own South African AI or intelligent document processing software, because I've just submitted my budget, and that would be the first step in order for me to acquire this intelligent document processing software. And the second one would be to convince our ICT department by way of a business process, and then we would have to go into business requirements, etc., which will take forever. The library world is quite big, and we all have the same problem. And so I'm wondering if anybody's doing it. Maybe people are doing it. Maybe somebody knows whether anybody's working on a custom built for FIT, as in for metadata extraction, in your typical library setup where you've got different types of material, especially in your heritage and special collections. Is somebody doing something? Can we initiate something? My question. Thank you.
Fatima, I think the question was to everyone, not so much to us. Am I correct?
Yes, it was to everybody. I was just wondering because librarians work best when they collaborate with for hundreds of years. It's our best and most well developed superpower, if you like. So I'm just wondering if anybody is doing something in this area. Thank you. Thank you. Because it is to everybody. I'm wondering if somebody might know. But I wouldn't mind hearing your views on something like that, Nicholas and Joe, because you guys have been working with us for a while.
So I'll stop immediately as soon as another hand goes up. But thank you for that, Fatima. I would like to sort of say that what we chose to do was sort of an educational view into a real live working environment. And Joe just sort of he made up a death notice, or, and made up a thesis and so on. And just to show you some sample content and what could possibly be done. It's highly configurable. So I think, this is to say we are a South African company. I'm a bit of an odd one out with my German heritage, but we're a fully South African company, and we are not an Elsevier or a Clarivate or a Wiley or Springer or something that is selling you a subscription or selling you some AI-powered tool to integrate in your LLM or whatever, in your library management system, your LMS. That's precisely not what we're doing. We're showing you how very configurable a system like this needs to be for us to work with it on a day-to-day basis in a real live scenario. So I think I really want to make the point that this is not a sales pitch, it's more an educational view into a live system. So if you want to try something, I think we're the first call for you, because we'll see if it can be built.
I want to also just sort of just jump in there. I think that there's a big difference between building a system and actually configuring a system. I think that's critical. So if we look today at some of the technologies that's available, one can extract metadata. You can build some form of solution. The problem is that you can't scale with that, number one, and number two, you can't do other document types. You need to start from scratch for another document type. With this type of solution is a platform designed for absolutely any document type that exists. You state how it looks, and that continuously grows. And I think a key thing, Fatima, that you mentioned on working together is that that's something that can be built together. It's like, this is working, this is not working, this is fantastic, and one can take the learnings and one can migrate it across, that everyone benefits. So a lot of these things are possible. So from our side, we do have experience with building our own solutions. It's expensive. It is not necessarily as scalable as one would like it to be. And you continuously need to focus, monitor, maintain consistently. So that's why we chose this type of technology, that we know we can scale easily, we can apply any document type, and it's configurable locally on our environments.
Let me just see. How are we doing for time, Doctor? Are we because I believe we're at the end.
Yes, we are at the end. Sorry.
Thanks, Larshan. It's Larshan speaking,
yes.
right? Yes. Hi, Larshan. Okay, so that was
Thank you, Larshan. Thank you, Larshan, for that.
Okay, so that's us, and we really thank you for the engagement.
Okay.
Sorry about the leaf blower.
Yeah, it has come back now.
It has come back to haunt us.
So
Thanks,
there's a
everybody.
hand. Looks like there's a hand.
Okay.
Unless if it was just an old hand. Oh, okay.
I think it was just a legacy hand.
Oh, it
A
was
legacy.
it got tired.
All right. Thank you, colleagues, and have
All
a
right.
wonderful day.
All right. Thank you very much, colleagues from FC Tech. Can I, at this moment, invite Lashan to please make a closing statement? But perhaps before that, colleagues, while you are still there, I've been reminded to remind you about one of the build-up sessions to the November AI Symposium. So it will be on the 20th of August 2026 and it will be conducted by a colleague from EFS. So it's one of the build-up sessions as we build up to the main conference in November. So if you can also check and participate like you did today, we'll appreciate. Lashan, can you please make a closing statement so that we can close?
Thank you, Program Director. On behalf of the IFLA Organizing Committee and the partnering institutions, I would like to thank Mr. Zimmer and Mr. Fostu for their insightful presentation. I think if you're looking at the way intelligent document processing is transforming the way libraries and archives manage, preserve, and provide access to information, I think this is something that we have to reimagine and re-envision how we take this forward. So without further ado, I would like to thank you for your time and to all the delegates, overwhelming response of delegates and your participation in this webinar. I think it's very, very exciting. So we look forward to seeing you at the conference from the 9th to the 13th of November, where you can engage further on practices of AI. Thank you, colleagues, and have a good day.
Thank you, Lashan, and bye, colleagues.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.